zest to the game. It was not Warren Moon against Drew Bledsoe, as everyone who bought tickets in the offseason thought it would be. It was Commander Cody Carlson against Scott, won't you let me take you on a Seahawks. But here we go, each team looking for their second win. Warren Moon on the bench after that horrible night for the Oilers and everyone, Moon and the Oilers in Buffalo. Drew Bledsoe also on the sideline. So it's Scott Seahawks, who engineered a win last week at Phoenix, hitting Greg McMurtry. Early on, Seahawks looked sharp. Then the give to the big guy, number 32, Leonard Russell, for 11 yards. But Sean Jones comes through and blocks a field goal attempt by Scott Sisson, stymieing the Patriots. So no score in the first quarter. Seahawks goes back to work to tight end Ben Wintercoat. And he rumbles for 37 yards. Same drive, 4th and 1. Remember how successful Parcells used to be with the Giants in 4th down situations? Well, with the Patriots, he's been successful as well. What does he call? A give to Leonard Russell, but stacked up by the Oiler defense, they hold. Cody Carlson making his 14th start. He's 8-5 as a starter going in. Vincent Brown, oh, we had the pick, but he couldn't hold on. Second quarter, Carlson gets help from his defense. When Sean Jones, you saw him block the field goal, sacked Seahawks at the 1, forcing a punt from deep in their zone. Now second quarter, but on the same drive, Carlson to Low White and the 7 Dwarfs, 10-yard completion. Tommy, the Patriots didn't put the pressure on.
Yeah, here you see they came with a 4-man rush most of the day and allowed Carlson and then Moon time to find second and third receivers.
Carlson decides to run it in. Good coverage downfield, but Carlson recognized that he had the flag. He gets it, touchdown. He does suffer a groin injury on the play. The Oilers lead 7-0. He would aggravate it in the team's next series. He goes, uh-oh, he's down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's over. It's over. Bring in Warren Moon. Groin injury for Carlson will be reevaluated on Wednesday. So Moon back in the saddle. Hits Webster Slaughter for 7 yards. Makes a nice cut. Then with 20 seconds left in the half, Moon to Slaughter, 8-yard touchdown, 14-0 Houston at the half. Same score, third quarter. New England looking for some spark. The quick pass to Kevin Turner for 23 yards. Same drive. Look at Kevin Turner with a 7-yard catch and a touchdown. 14-7, the P-men within a touch. The Oilers back on the move. Lorenzo White, 6 tough yards. Good job at the line on this drive, Tom.
Yeah, this is what a running back wants you to do. Create a lane. You see the offensive line of the Oilers doing a good job of cutting off the Patriots, and then Lorenzo White getting all he can out of it.
And then Moon, big rush this time, but he finds Slaughter for a second touchdown. 21-7 the Oilers after 3. Warren very economical with the fog. This is the morning shot with the fog clear for the Patriots. Their offense looked in a fog. They're hoping to get it going, but Steve Jackson, one of the guys torched in that playoff game at Buffalo. Took to the half the air, but the big revenge. It's a touchdown. 28-7. Parcells' club adds a later touch, but it's not going to be enough. And Houston, well, I mean, you got to start somewhere, and they did at New England, beating the P-men 28-14. Despite 280 yards passing for Scott Seahawks, they did pick him off 3 times. 9 catches for Webster Slaughter. Now, obviously, in talent, Tommy, the Oilers are a much better team than New England Patriots.
Start the last 2 games. Rodney Peete was back at the helm for the Lions, and he wanted to make the most of his chance. But first things first, like the opening kickoff, Mel Gray out of the end zone, and he fumbles after being hit by Michael Bates, the speedster with a bronze medal for the 200 meters. What do you think about this, TJ?
Well, great hit by Bates. Great job of getting down the field. But what's the definition of the ground causing the fumble if that is not it?
I don't know. That's a good question. How about another rookie? Rick Meyer, 3rd and goal, out of the pocket. To Kelvin Martin between George Jameson and Dan Owens, 7-0 Seahawks. Tom Flores wondering, could the Seahawks win 4 in a row for the first time since '86? Well, as Barry Sanders goes, the Lions go, and he didn't go anywhere here, being brought down by Terry Wooden. Sanders again, nothing, brought down by Natu Tuatagaloa. Rodney Peete saying, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. And Sanders would respond, still in the first, 2nd and 8. Peete completes to Sanders who dodges Wooden and is brought down by Robert Blackman. Sanders has caught at least one pass in 17 straight games. Sanders now around the right side. And finally brought down by Eugene Robinson after 14 yards and a first down. The quarter changes. We go the other way. Pete to Herman's Moore for the 13-yard touchdown. We're tied at 7. And not a good day, though, for Meyer or Seattle. Meyer back, overthrows Paul Green. So what about Seattle's leading rusher, TJ?
Well, Chris Warren had a horrible day today. 15 carries, 37 yards. Here he's swarmed by William White, Ray Crockett, and Dennis Gibson.
That tough defense. He's not going anywhere. And yeah, Tom Flores is a little bit worried at this point. Meyer again, 3rd and 20. He gets nailed and lost it. It's intercepted by William White. Meyer's 5th interception of the year. He was picked off 3 times in this game alone. Lions rolling again. And that Pete Herman Moore connection works again. A great catch over the middle and brought down by Dwayne Harper. Then Moore again. Over the middle. You gotta love this, TJ. He fights his way into the end zone. 14-7 Lions.
You said it, Robin. A nice slant to Herman Moore, but then he's that Jerry Rice-style receiver. Big, strong, tough, can run through people and get into the end zone.
He is tough to bring down. All in the first half, 8 catches, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Herman Moore. That speedster, Michael Bates, thinking back. Could he have another great play on special teams? Lions' first possession of the second half, a 14-10, Mel Gray would redeem himself, taking the kickoff from John Casey. He is gone. Patrick Hunter tries to get, look at Casey, number 4. We love to see this. He's hustling, but 95 yards. Mel Gray goes the 3rd time. He has returned a kickoff for a touchdown. He's also returned 3 punts for a touchdown. 117 yards in return yardage today for Mel Gray. Rodney Peete, solid numbers in his return as a starter. 14 of 26 for 157 yards. The final, 30-10. Lions with a victory. It's just the 2nd time in 6 meetings that Seattle has lost to the Lions. They're now 0-4 when coming off a bye week. Herman Moore, he finished with 8 catches for 98 yards. The Lions 4-2 and alone atop the NFC Central. Boomer, of course, everybody else was off.
The Norris division. Right. That's right. It's nice to be the only one playing and move ahead.
It helps. It helps.
And they are tough at home. I mean, that's a tough place to go in to win. I mean, teams a lot better than Seattle have gone in and struggled in that place.
It's tough.
They do well there. All right, the Browns and the Bengals. And speaking of doing well, one thing the Bengals have done is beat the Browns at Riverfront. They've beaten them 5 in a row. Now, Cincinnati began the season scoring 14 points in the first quarter at Cleveland. Now, when Cleveland came back to win, it was a blow from which the Bengals have yet to recover. And, oh, by the way, today, Cleveland started, not Bernie Kosar, but they started my cousin Vinny Testaverde at the helm for the Browns. As Bernie Kosar sidelines watching his friend, fellow alum from Miami, Vinny Testaverde. In the first half, Testaverde throws to Juan Wolfley for 6 yards. Then it's complete to Leroy Hort. A play action for Vinny. Good-looking play for 7 yards to Hort. Then on 2nd and 10, the screen to touchdown Tommy Vardell, who rumbles with those big shoulder pads for 28 yards. And yes, he does score a touchdown. 7-0 Browns. Cleveland had the running game going, as they really like to do. Randy Baldwin cuts outside. Picks up 7. Then it's Baldwin again, weaving his way through for another 7 yards. And if you do the work, I mean, you should eventually get the reward, should you not? So, instead of running it, Vinny looks for Baldwin. The swing to the right. Where's the defense? Oh, there it is. Makes the cut. 14-0 Browns. What's going on, Tom?
Yeah, here as we take a replay, there are 3 Bengals right in the center of your screen on one receiver. That opens up the coverage for one-on-one outside to Baldwin. He gets one-on-one with anyone. That's usually going to be a TD.
Cleveland defense getting it done today as well. David Klingler hit from behind by Clay Matthews. Michael Dean Perry, number 92, picks up the fumble. Klingler would leave the game with a bruised lower back, questionable for next week's game at Houston. But back to Cleveland. Vinny Testaverde finds Brian Heat in the kitchen for 1 yard, and it's 21-0 Cleveland. Vinny on the day, not a lot of yards, and actually below 50%, but, hey, 3 touchdowns that he threw very early in the first 20 minutes. Bengals having problems. This was Klingler under pressure. This time he missed. And the running game didn't work either. I would say not. Harold Green had 8 carries for 12 yards. Same result. What's happening, Tommy?
Well, as you take a look here, you can't run the short plays when on this kind of a down. Here, 2nd down and 15. You've got too many Browns filling the lanes, too many Browns outside, too many Browns everywhere.
Now, you know what the problem is with the Bengals? Their coach, David Shula, has better speed than the rest of the team. Look at him beat them all into the locker room at halftime. First half, though, one bright spot for the Bengals. Tim Crumryan has it. He battled back from the serious injury, hits Vinny, fumble. The Bengals recover, eventually rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, fumbling. Vinny was shaken up and stays in the game. The Bengals do capitalize on the miscue. Jay Schrader, now at quarterback for the injured Klingler. To Jeff Query, touchdown, 21-7. Second half, kind of uneventful. Vardell to Mark Carrier. And the double reverse for the 15-yard score, 28-10 Browns. And this kind of sums it up because only 34 yards rushing and 14 carries for the Bengals. They were on ice. Once again, they still remain the only team yet to win in the NFL this year, 194 yards of offense. And the Browns going to win it 28-17, their first win in Cincinnati in 6 years. I mean, Harold Green, 12 yards, Fenner, 11. I think you get the picture. But Tommy, we combine the Cleveland highlights with the Detroit highlights. I mean, these are two teams that, oh, by the way, went into the day at 3-2. Oh, by the way, they were in first place, but they had big quarterback controversies. How do we think they both did, with Vinny playing and Pete playing?
Well, I certainly think that Vinny Testaverde playing well now could create a very nasty situation with the Cleveland Browns. Kosar and the big contract that he has, he's not going to be satisfied sitting on the bench. We're going to have to watch this one play out as the season goes on because you have to have your doubts about Cleveland wanting to trade Bernie Kosar. They're going to need two good quarterbacks to get them through the season. As for the Detroit Lions and their quarterback controversy, I say let Rodney Peete play for a month. Let's see if he improves, if he's the guy that you need to get you to the playoffs.
We're looking for a Cinderella team here this year. We were hoping Seattle might be it after 2-14. A little disappointed with the way they played today against Detroit, but they know they've got some growing up to do, and Meyer's going to have games like that. Hey, they're 3-3 after 6 games.
Good defense will help.
Yes, that's for sure. But Detroit, it was their day today. As we go inside the numbers, tell you what, it's kind of been a bookend season in the two Browns-Bengals games. For Cincinnati, the first quarter of the 8 quarters they've played, and the last 2 are great. The problem is the middle 5 quarters when the Browns have beaten them 48-7, and hence the Browns sweep the season series. When we return, the lone undefeated team in the NFL, the New Orleans Saints, against the very hot team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who would be hotter. The hitting was fierce. We'll go to Three Rivers in a moment. Ball Club. They've won their last 3, and they're really starting to assert themselves. Don't believe us? Well, then watch this. Saints knowing they're in Steeler country. Second play from scrimmage from New Orleans. Wade Wilson hasn't thrown an interception in 107 passes. Oops. Rod Woodson with the deflection off Derek Brown, and he could go all the way with blocking. 63 yards, 7-0 Steelers, 2 plays in. Still first quarter. Wilson looks for Patrick Newman, and oh, what a pick by Rod Woodson, his 7th of the year.
And this is what makes him the best cornerback in the NFL. Look at the concentration and a great catch with the hands. No receiver could have done that any better, Chris.
Steelers would capitalize. They fake the back around and the swing the other way to Barry's Foster. He loggers his way in for 20 yards at the touchdown. 14-0 the Steelers. Wade Wilson tries to bring the Saints back. He's had a great year to the rookie year, but by the Bengals. And Dion Figures, another rookie who has figured prominently for Pittsburgh, recovers. Saints had turned the ball over only 4 times in the first 5 games. Today, 5 times. Mora. Jim needs some help today. Wilson had trouble, partly because he, too, was off. Overthrow to Early, underthrow to Turner, misfire here. Wade Wilson, who's been great, 6 of 23 for 85 yards and 3 picks. Outfed. Steelers running backs, well, Barry Foster has had 10 100-yard games in his last 11 at home. Here he rumbles for 20 yards up the gut against the Saints. Then watch Foster. He barrels, but he also can see. I mean, this is the year we're learning he belongs in the elite to the NFL for running backs. 12 yards on that one, left with a slight shoulder problem after 75 yards. But don't worry. The Steelers put in someone else, Leroy Thompson. Here he goes on the inside handoff for 9 yards. And Tommy, watch the block.
If you're going to run the ball against the Saints, you got to block Ricky Jackson. There you see it at the top of the screen. Duval Love just engulfed him to create a lane for Leroy Thompson.
And Thompson takes the handoff from O'Donnell. Look at it, scamper outside the left side. For 25 yards, he slipped, still going. Thompson, oh, Foster didn't get 100. Well, I will, for 101 yards. Don Capers, Steelers defensive coordinator, used to coach the DBs of the Saints, so maybe they had some inside info. Well, Greg Lloyd had some inside info. Look at the effort. He knocks Wilson down. Kevin Green, yeah, he had a monster game against the youngster William Meatrope.
Yeah, and Kevin Green knows every trick in the book. He had set William Rope up with a great outside rush, and here he just used the power rush right there to go and get the sack.
And then it shall be a leave-on. Levon Kirkland crushes Wilson. Kevin Green recovers. And look at 91, rumble like a big fullback. You think he's fired up? Steelers defense, 5 sacks, 3 picks, 2 fumble recoveries, kind of like the Steel Curtain days. This sets up Tom Zach coming in relief of O'Donnell. When you're hot, you're hot. It's tipped into the hands of Eric Green, 37-0. Mike Buck, a couple of mop-up touchdowns for the Saints to get them on the board. But when it was all over, a big win. Their 4th in a row for the Steelers, and gone from the ranks of the unbeaten are the Saints. 37-14, the Steelers with 201 yards rushing against the New Orleans Saints, and 101 of those from Mr. Thompson. So, I mean, Tommy, the Steelers, you need a yuck every now and then. The Philadelphia Eagles were visiting the New York Giants, each team at 4-1. Now, no matter who's been a quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, they've had the Giants' number. They've beaten them 5 in a row. They've won 9 out of their last 10, usually off great athletic plays by offense, defense, special teams, everybody involved. Today, Dan Reeves got his first crack at trying to beat through that Eagles stranglehold over the Giants. Keith Millard getting pumped up literally for this game. The Eagles' first defensive play, though, double teamed by Brian Williams and Bob Cratch. Lewis Tillman gets tackled, but Millard gets bent over backwards. Diagnosis of sprained left knee. X-rays were negative, but he was gone for the day. 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Bubby Brister gone for the day, hit by Corey Miller. Right ankle rolls onto him. It's a sprained ankle. We'll wait and see. But Bubby was gone, and so a guy signed only October 4th, Ken O'Brien, got the job for the Eagles. Dan Reeves, well, Bill Sims has had the job all year. Look at him dumping off to Dave Meggett for 8 yards. Then Sims hits Aaron Pierce, one of his tight ends. A great catch, stays in bounds for 17. Then it's back to Meggett. And look at that little Meggett run. He evades a couple of tackles, and the Wes Hopkins knocks him out of bounds.
Yeah, and then as they scored a touchdown, Phil Sims here going to Ed McCaffrey. Look at the time that he has to throw the ball in the red zone. Just too much.
Too much time, Phil will kill you. He did it there, 7-3. Chiba! Swing kickoff by Sikahema. Nailed by Corey Widmer at Corey Raymond. Too many Coreys on the play. Vaughn Hebron takes the handoff. Nailed after 3 yards at Tefembo. At the bottom of the pile, LT. Richie Kotite watches the ref signal the other way, getting tight. Phil Sims back to pass. Hits Mike Sherrard. You want to see a good play? Look at him avoid the hit. Turn this way. Whoop. Turn that way. There goes Mike Sherrard, looking as good as he has in years. But, oh, it wasn't the leg. Fortunately, he strained a hip on the play. MRI tomorrow. He didn't return. But Sims did to Howard Cross. Howard barrels down to the 1 for 14 yards, and then on the next touchdown, Tom.
Something the Giants have always done well. Watch Kenyon Rashid lead Lewis Tillman. And I mean, Lewis stayed right on his back and dove right into the end zone for that TD.
14-3 Giants. Minute 4 to go in the half. Sims floats to Chris Callaway, but it can't be. Howdy, because even though it's pass interference, he didn't catch it, so he can't do it. Sims looking for Callaway. It's Heidi, incomplete. Reeves says, so what? The Giants are up by 11 at the half, and we're going to go for more in the third quarter. Sims from the shotgun. Picked off by Mark McMillan. Now watch this. He wants the lateral to Eric Allen. No! Oh, he did it. Cross recovers for the Giants. Richie Kotite says, we've won on those plays, but not there. So, Sims to Mark Jackson. Ball tip McMahon. Ken O'Brien. Picked off by Corey Miller. Continues to impress. Miller runs crossfield. Had a couple of sacks and a pick. Giants fans fired up. Team looking to go 5-1. Lewis Tillman, on time.